The automotive industry has always understood that different buyers want different things. But few manufacturers have taken this principle as far as the ultra-luxury segment, where vehicles are sometimes engineered and designed with such specificity that they essentially exist for a single category of owner. These are not mass-market vehicles adapted for niche audiences, but rather cars conceived from inception with one particular type of buyer in mind, down to the smallest engineering detail. The result is a fascinating collection of automobiles that are almost incomprehensibly specialized, catering to owners with very particular lifestyles, professions, or aspirations that most people would never consider as relevant to automotive design. The most prominent example of owner-specific luxury vehicles emerges in the world of professional racing drivers. Porsche's 911 GT2 RS and similar track-focused variants were essentially built for experienced motorsport professionals. These vehicles demand a level of driving skill and understanding that far exceeds what ordinary drivers, regardless of wealth, possess. The engineering assumes the owner understands heel-to-toe downshifting, trail braking, and tire temperature management. The suspension is so stiff and responsive that it would be borderline undrivable for someone accustomed to ordinary cars. The steering is so direct and communicative that it requires constant attention and precise inputs. These cars are not simply fast in a straight line. They are instruments designed to reward the racing driver with granular feedback about every aspect of vehicle dynamics. An amateur attempting to drive such a vehicle at its limits would not experience thrills but rather fear, as the car's behavior becomes increasingly unpredictable without the proper expertise. Some owners have purchased these vehicles as status symbols only to discover they cannot actually drive them effectively, representing a humbling reminder that not all luxury purchases align with the buyer's actual capabilities. The Bugatti Chiron Divo represents another fascinating example of owner-specificity, though for entirely different reasons. Bugatti designed the Divo specifically for wealthy collectors who wanted a hypercar that could be driven on public roads rather than confined to racetracks. The vehicle assumes an owner with access to private test facilities, closed courses, or unrestricted road networks in places like certain German highways or Middle Eastern venues. More importantly, it assumes an owner who possesses the maturity and judgment to responsibly operate an 800 horsepower machine that can exceed 240 miles per hour. The Divo is engineered for someone who understands that owning such a vehicle comes with profound responsibility, and that the thrill is not in speed, but in the privilege of commanding such capability. This owner type is imagined as someone with not just wealth, but also restraint, intelligence, and the wisdom that comes with age and experience. Bugatti does not design for young billionaires seeking bragging rights, but rather for seasoned individuals who appreciate engineering excellence for its own sake. Rolls-Royce has long built vehicles for a specific owner archetype, the individual who does not drive themselves, but rather employs a professional chauffeur. The entire design philosophy of Rolls-Royce vehicles, particularly sedans like the Phantom, prioritizes the experience of the rear seat passenger over the driver. The suspension is engineered for smoothness rather than responsiveness. The sound insulation is obsessive in its completeness, and the interior amenities focus on rear seat comfort and entertainment. A Rolls-Royce assumes an owner who will spend their time in the back seat, conducting business, enjoying conversation, or simply appreciating the view, while a professional driver operates the vehicle. This fundamental assumption about how the vehicle will be used permeates every design decision. Someone who actually enjoys driving would find a Rolls-Royce somewhat frustrating, as the vehicle is deliberately tuned for detachment rather than engagement. The car represents a statement that the owner is above driving, that their time is too valuable to spend hands-on wheel, and that they command resources sufficient to employ skilled professionals for such tasks. This is not merely a luxury car. It is a vehicle that makes a statement about the owner's place in social hierarchy. The Mercedes Maybach represents a slightly different iteration of this same principle, designed for the owner who wants to drive occasionally but spends most time being driven. The vehicle balances driver engagement with rear seat comfort in ways the pure Rolls-Royce does not. It assumes an owner who is successful enough to employ a chauffeur, but hands-on enough to occasionally take the wheel, perhaps for a spirited drive on a weekend or when traveling privately. The Maybach owner is imagined as someone with the means and confidence to shift between passenger and driver roles, depending on circumstance. Range Rover's most exclusive offerings present yet another owner-specific design philosophy. The vehicle built for individuals who expect to navigate extreme environments while maintaining absolute luxury. The Range Rover Evoque or the Range Rover Sport assumes an owner who might traverse challenging terrain but demands heated leather seats, premium sound systems, and the technological sophistication of a luxury vehicle. These are not true off-roaders designed for expedition or survival. They are luxury vehicles that can handle rough conditions without sacrificing the creature comforts and technological integration that wealthy owners expect. This owner type is imagined as someone who might drive across a desert or navigate mountain passes, but will spend the evening in five-star accommodations. The vehicle is engineered for the lifestyle of global ultra-wealthy travelers who refuse to choose between luxury and capability. The Lamborghini Aventador SVJ and similar extreme variants represent vehicles built for a different owner type entirely. The individual who craves cutting-edge performance, extreme aesthetics, and the latest technological innovations. This owner is imagined as relatively young, ambitious, and eager to own the most advanced supercar available. They want maximum horsepower, aggressive styling, and advanced systems like active aerodynamics and predictive traction control. These vehicles assume an owner who follows automotive technology closely and understands what technological innovations represent. They assume someone who changes vehicles frequently, chasing the latest developments rather than holding an automobile for decades as a timeless possession. The Aventador SVJ owner represents a specific demographic, successful, trendy, and connected to contemporary culture in ways that traditional luxury vehicle owners are not. Ferrari's bespoke programs reveal that the manufacturer has designed specific vehicles for collectors who view automobiles as art objects first and transportation second. The one-off Ferraris commissioned for specific collectors assume an owner with extraordinarily refined aesthetic sensibilities, someone who can articulate exactly what they want from a Ferrari that does not currently exist, and someone willing to invest years and millions of dollars to realize that vision. This owner type is imagined as deeply knowledgeable about automotive history and design, someone capable of engaging in detailed discussions with Ferrari's design team about proportions, materials, and aesthetic philosophy. These are not impulse purchases, but rather the culmination of careful thought about what an ideal personal Ferrari would represent. The Hennessy Venom F5 and similar hypercars designed by tuning specialists assume a very specific owner, the technology enthusiast who wants to own the fastest car in the world, or at least the fastest currently achievable. These vehicles are built for owners who track performance specifications obsessively and understand the engineering significance of every tenth of a second shaved from acceleration times or top speed. This owner type is imagined as someone for whom the goal of owning the fastest vehicle represents a meaningful life achievement, worth whatever cost that requires.